So,
All right. Well, Luca Nation, welcome back. Episode 579 of Lucas, Tigers, and Browns. Oh my, Saturday edition episode. So I hope as you're listening to this, whether this is Saturday evening or Sunday morning, kind of your next step is join us tomorrow. Tomorrow we're going to be on Whatnot. It's not going to be your standard show because it's the Pro Bowl, but we'll be doing maybe a 30, 45-minute show to rip, what is that, 2021?
2021, right now. This just came out last week.
What are the big hits in there?
We opened this case last year with Luca Nation. We only have a box this year, but this was the one that has the Contenders preview autographs in it. And you get 2 autographs and 1 memorabilia in 12 packs. So it's the one that's got like the first down, second down, third down, fourth down, the numbered cards out of 10. If it has the same stuff as last year, remember that call to arms, the Justin Herbert one? We got the gold out of.
The call to arms. That's a historic insert that Panini brought back, right?
Yes. Yeah, so call to arms, you got a gold and a touchdown numbered one. There's a new one called Thunder and Lightning in it, which is a pretty cool kind of thing. Remember, you always talk about who was it? Tiki Barber and Ron Dane, and then there was another Thunder and Lightning. Who was your favorite? I forget who it was. Who was it?
Reggie Bush.
Yes, Reggie Bush, Smash Dash. And then you also have
greatest duo ever in college football. My time.
The best duo ever was Jameis and Winston, and they are the ones that did the grab and crab legs.
Do you remember, dude? The things that Jameis got in trouble for was ridiculous.
It was so stupid.
He stole crab legs, and they made a huge deal. He was the worst human being ever.
Yep. All right, so we got Call to Arms autos, the rookie waves. Those were cool cards. A lot of our group. It's funny how long PSA takes, but last year when we broke the case of these, a lot of our people are getting the cards back now. You know what I mean? People are getting them back now. The Call to Arms with Joe Burrow, but this is cool. It has this year's rookie class in it. So maybe you get a Trevor Lawrence. Just a cool thing. Not a crazy box.
My play today has a little bit something to do with what you said there. So I'm excited for my play today because it's actually less of a buy this card and it was more of a strategy. It was actually a topic. I'm cliffhangering this, but it was a topic that you asked me a few days ago about how to invest in this year's rookie class, and I think I've kind of got a little bit of a solution here.
Ooh. So you figured out how I can put money in Chris Duarte.
Yep. Chris Duarte, Kuminga.
Well, then, listen, we're heading down a path here. We'll cliffhanger that. That could be the second half. This is going to be an Andrew Says episode. It's going to be a lot of fun. And I have 2 things. And, we have the football in front of us still, and I'm still kind of in a football mood. We talk baseball. A lot of people are like, leave me alone with that baseball. I think that's a mistake. But right now, we're in an interesting spot, right? The quarterbacks that are left, Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow is doing his John Morant impersonation. He's somebody who, was the second fiddle as a rookie to Zion / Justin Herbert. And, he got a little injured. Jaws had some injuries. And Jaws coming full steam ahead now, same as Mr. Burrow. Who knows what winds up happening there? Who knows what's gonna be the case? But when everybody's talking about Ja, there are other guys out there that are, Luka, Zion. They're kind of taking a little bit of a back seat. It's more clear cut in the NFL. I'm talking about the amazing AFC showdown we had between Mr. Josh Allen and Mr. Patrick Mahomes, and they had one for the ages, an instant classic, and yet neither of them is representing the AFC in the Super Bowl. Sort of what we talked about all year about how only one of them can be there, like Highlander, right? You ever see Highlander? There can be only one, chop the head off kind of thing, right? So the one from the AFC this year, Joe. I think it's going to kind of be like a little, carousel round robin of quarterbacks in there. But I think Josh Allen and Patrick Mahomes are always going to be in that mix, and they lost. And I was curious because we've talked about the Mahomes silver. I was curious about what happens with that card. And my question for you is, where do you see that card going? Is it a buy? And if so, at what price? And here's the kind of the lead up to it. That card was, as the playoffs were going on, it was over $8,000. Everybody knows that card was over 10. I think we even talked about it at its peak. Somebody touched to buy it now at like 15,000. Let's just take that outlier out. Say it was a 5-figure card over 10. And then during the season, it was not. Let's say it was back in the 7s. It was selling in auctions and on eBay in the 8s. The last couple of sales have been around $7,400, $7,500. Down slightly, but not, anything crazy. But if you look, people are listing them. There's actually one, as we record this, on eBay for $73.49 or best offer, which means the person will take less than that. It also means they lose 10% of that, or so to eBay, which means that they're actually netting like $6,500. So I'm wondering if you can find somebody who sees that one on eBay and is saying, wow, the cap hit that's going to hit Kansas City that you talked about. And Luca Nation kind of, sent us messages about also, I'm not a believer in Mahomes anymore. He's like the Buffalo Bills. He can get to the AFC Championship game, but, only one time did he win that Super Bowl, which the Bills didn't even do. So I guess it's a bad comparison. People are dumping him. At what price do you say, okay, now it's worth it? We're down 50% from the highs. We're down, close to 50% from the highs. I want to buy a Mahomes 2017 Prism rookie, which is a silver, but they all were. Is there a price you buy it at, or are you just staying away from Mahomes? He's not somebody you put money into right now.
So I was pulling up card ladder. So I'll pull up both of these guys real quick, just so you guys see some context. Because shockingly, Cage, first off, you ask questions the best way ever. You basically give statements, and then you say, this is going to be an Andrew episode. I'm excited. I got this. And 4 minutes later, here we are. I'm not totally sure what the question is, but I'm going to riff anyway.
Mahomes Prism rookie, is there a price you buy it at?
Perfect. So here we are. So I pulled it up. 7,600, just like you said. Relatively flat. It kind of actually reminds me of this behavior of Luka Doncic's silver, remember?
Mm-hmm.
It's just the Lucas Silver Prism PSA 10. There was a point where he was
just stayed at 7. Then it was at 4.
Yep, it was. Do you remember this range? Mm-hmm. Right, not too high, not too low, not really much moved it. And you could even zoom out. It's basically flat. I mean, there's a few outlier sales, but relatively flat. This exact same chart, if you guys go back, Lucas Silver Prism PSA 10s were like this until they fell off. And I think that what causes the fall off is the question. In my opinion, is what you just described, where people start listing for 7,300. Someone comes in 172, 71, 7,000. And the bottom slowly falls out as the collectors of those cards are in it at a good price and or they're losing patience, right? They don't want to now hold Mahomes for 9-10 months where he's basically done everything right in his 4 years. And their cards, they're thinking, what am I going to hold for? There's very little upside. I want to get out of this card. I don't want to wait. And they start undercutting. So I say Mahomes is not a buy, in my opinion. And
is there a price he gets down to during the offseason that makes you change your mind? 5,000? 5,500? I mean, it probably doesn't get there, but, is there a price? And you're like, oh, yeah, that's too low.
Well, we're talking about the silver prism, right? Because most of the audience, or the silver, the base, maybe.
Silver the base.
We're not talking about the high-end cards. I mean, if you look at the Luka silver card, that still hasn't stopped falling.
What's the pop difference, though? You think part of the Luka thing is that there was just so much graded? Because, 2017 Prism, I don't think there was that much. I mean, there's
84 in PSA 10, so not like.
That's not a tiny amount.
It's not a tiny amount, there's other parallels. There's here's an orange out of 275. There's 80 just of those. BGS graded some, SGC graded some. There's all of these parallels. There's green scope. The Lucas still hasn't stopped falling. So I actually say stay away from that card because there's so much uncertainty. And this other thing happened with Patrick Mahomes. He kind of became the hobby villain. People wanted to see him fail. And it's that.
This is what happens.
You either die a hero, you live long enough to see yourself become the villain. It's that famous Dark Knight line.
And if you stay long enough, you can become the hero again, a la Tom Brady.
It's true. It's fascinating how it's very much like this movie narrative, but right now he's in the villain stage. So
it's true.
And we watched. What was the Tom Brady documentary? Man in the Arena.
Man in the Arena, yeah.
Between winning his first championships and the second part of his career from 2006 to 2015, he didn't have it. So, Mahomes has an amazing 4 years. He has a bright future, but I think the investment in him is much longer term. And I think there's going to be a dip, not like a 1, 2, 3 month dip. I think there's going to be a 6 to 12 month dip on his cards, which is okay. I don't think that's a terrible thing. I think after cards run up, that's actually healthy. So.
All right. So that's number one. Number two, this would be my play, and I'm curious about what your thoughts are on this, right? So we talked about how this is like a $7,000 and change card, and there's 800 and something of them, and it's 2017 Prism. If you go into 2018 Prism, right? It's funny. I never knew how rare these things were. We saw the Tom Brady silver sell for so much money, and we had Josh Luber on our show talking about the 2018s and saying how that was a parallel he liked. The border is nice. It's a great framing of the card, and you name it. I'm wondering, take a look. Josh Allen's 2018 Prism Silver. What does Card Ladder say for the value on that? I'm betting it's a lot.
I already have that pulled up. 26 PSA 10s.
Only 26. And what do they say the PSA 10 value is?
It's that 2018 year. Remember with the Brady?
So I'll get there. So talk to me. What do they say the value is? That's what I just said. The Brady. Yeah, I just said it. The Brady value. We saw it sell. Josh Luber had the 2018, the silvers. So what do they have the value on that? Like, what does that say? 12, 13? Yeah.
Here's the issue with it.
Shoot.
Yeah, the last sale was October 11th, according to Card Ladder.
Yep.
There was a PSA 9 sale, to give you context, February 1st, 1725, which is actually up from 1500 in January 22nd. He was already out of the playoffs at that point.
Yep. So it's up a little bit, which is fine. By the way, there's one of these on eBay right now for $15,000 or best offer. So it hasn't gone up much more than the 12, 13 that they are. It might even go down. That's what happens when there's 26 of them. You have somebody holding hope he's in the Super Bowl. But my play is an offshoot of that. So if you go back to the Josh Allen on Card Ladder, here's my question. We just looked at Mahomes. And Mahomes has a Super Bowl and MVP. All right, he's already done more than Josh Allen, clearly, right? So he's done more, you name it. I like the 2018s. I like the 2018 silvers, right? Now, this is not everyone's favorite thing, right? And it's definitely not what people go with autos. They like the Prism. But there's only, if you were to pull up, take a look at the Josh Allen Silver Prism auto. So it's the same as that Silver Prism, but you're adding an auto, a sticker auto. A lot of people don't love that. But take a look at this. So there's only 100 and something of these. 180, 100, what do they have?
195.
195 of these, right? And the card ladder value is probably less than $3,000, $4,000,
4,000. The last sale was $39.50 on January 31st.
Right. So I'm wondering whether or not this is a viable alternative to that silver. Instead of paying $13,000, $14,000 for the silver, I know there's 26 of them. Does this card make sense? Is this one to chase, especially when you compare it to Mahomes? And there's 888 of his Prism silvers at $7,000. This one here is now 4, and it's 195 of them. And I want to throw this out there for you guys, right? I think now might be a time to grab one of these because even though Card Ladder says 3,900, there are quite a few on eBay, 4,100 or best offer, 4,500 or best offer. You might be able to grab one of these, in the 3,500 range, less than half of what the Mahomes is. So I lay out all the stuff for another one of my 4-minute questions. You gave a very good answer, which I happen to agree with about Mahomes. What are your thoughts on Josh Allen? Do you think he also goes down? Do you think he might be a play? And what do you think about, rolling with the silver auto instead of the silver at the price that it's at?
It's a great question, Cage. I actually think Josh Allen goes up not in the next 3 months, but in the next 7 months before season. And I think what's cool about a Josh Allen card, you could throw Herbert into this category, is what's right before football season, Cage? National.
Yeah, the National.
And what's better trade bait than the upcoming quarterback class? Because people don't want those cards shipped. They want to have them there. It's like, all right, football's right around the corner. All right, throw in a Herbert. Throw in a Josh Allen. You're making trades. You're making moves. That's a card that you're going to want to have at National if you're going to Atlantic City. That's a great buy. That's a great buy because it's not cheap. I'm not going to lie to you. It's not cheap. There wasn't a huge dip. There's probably a bigger dip on Herbert than Allen.
Yep.
But sometime in August when we head to National, you're going to start seeing a run-up on those cards as you see every single year. And that's a card I actually think when most people see the silver go for 13, 14,000, who knows what they're going to be selling in August.
Right.
If you have the silver with an auto, people are going to give up a lot for that. And I think that's
Yeah.
a great trade bait as you head into the season. So I think it's a great play.
Cool. Well, listen, I mean, I was thinking about also like the silver prism field level. People don't. I mean, I'm trying to come down, right? If it's $14,000 for the silver, all right, you got the auto. That field level only has a
Side,
one.
right?
Well, it's field level, yeah, field level for football. But to select, there's 137, 138 of those in PSA 10, also low. Like not a ton of them when you're thinking about, like all the other guys in PSA 10. And
the PSA 9 of that card, the field level, which I know we're not big PSA 9 guys, but let me just show you the chart. It's quite a buy cage. So let me pull it up. I'm going to come back to this card. I mean, that's come down quite a bit. And look at since October 25th, it's come down to basically half price.
Yep.
$504 for the Panini Select Silver Prism.
Well, I'm telling you, there are the 10s under 2,000 or best offer.
Under 2,000?
Yeah, I'm looking at eBay right now. The 10s, I see a 1999 or best offer. A couple of them below 2,000 with OBO. So I don't know what the card ladder is on it, but I don't know how much you're going to get it for. But if there's a couple of them on there that are below 2 or best offer, maybe the next auction comes up and it ends. Seems like you can get it for a decent price, and there's not that many of them. So
Select's interesting because most people will agree Select is a better aesthetic than Prism. But Prism has brand, and sometimes it takes a long time to dethrone brand.
That's true. And that's why it was the third one we talked about. But I love the analysis, man. I do. And also very smart about National. When we were at, last year's, same exact thing. Everybody's looking for quarterbacks. Everyone's looking for quarterbacks. And believe it or not, a lot of people are looking for Shohei. Because, of course, it was right in the summer of Shohei there. Shohei was doing good for the first half of the year. So, yeah, man. I mean, listen, this is what we try to do, right? I mean, it's football season. It's about to end. It's an interesting thing, man. It really is. Another little
thing. Football season's it's American pastime.
And it was great. Like we've had some really great postseason games. So I'll miss it. But when everybody's talking about other things, a lockout, they're gonna get a mediator for baseball. Basketball is heating up. I have one more topic for you in the NBA. Don't let me forget. People will look away from football soon. There'll be a champ. It'll either be Stafford or Burrow, and we'll see. And then everybody else is not the champ, and that might be your time to buy maybe next year's champ. So
is your topic in the NBA how ESPN is chronically incorrect about NBA and who's going to be in the finals when they predicted the Lakers versus the Nets, and now both teams are dysfunctional?
I do have two NBA topics for you before I get off of NFL. I don't know if you could find this. Maybe you can find it on YouTube, guys. Right? Russell Wilson. I don't know if there's a play in there. I don't know where he goes. I don't know what the story is. I always liked Russell Wilson. He's also got a championship, right? I mean, he also won with Seattle. Never won that MVP, but another guy who has as many Super Bowls as Patrick Mahomes.
I think Russell Wilson has a lot going against him. That's my issue. And it's actually not his fault. It's the fact that there's Topps Chrome and Prism in the same year, which confuses the F out of any buyer. It splits the market, and it really fucks shit up. I got to be honest with you, man.
I mean, I'm with you. So here's why I say Russell Wilson. Pro Bowl weekend is a little bit weird, right? I mean, I don't know if we're going to watch. I don't know if tomorrow's show I'll look at some props maybe, but, it's Pro Bowl. It's crazy. But they do these skills competitions, which the NBA still has the best one. You still have the dunk competition. And 3-point competition. And the football skill stuff is
shot versus LeBron versus Aaron.
Yeah, Gordon, but it's still fun. But the football has a skills competition, and what they did, for the one that I watched, take a look at this, guys. It's AFC against NFC, obviously, and they do like a passing competition. Like 2 quarterbacks from each league, and then they put in non-quarterbacks. So it was. Hunter Renfrow of the Raiders was the non-quarterback for the AFC with Mac Jones. And the quarterback for the NFC, the non-quarterback was Justin Jefferson. I think Renfro played QB. Justin Jefferson has thrown the ball in the NFL and is actually pretty decent at it. And Russell Wilson. And Renfro. So guys, take a watch of this. It's pretty cool what they did. I've never seen this one before, but they set up the field and there were targets, 1-point targets that are kind of like your screen routes, and it's like a tackling dummy that moves. It's like on wheels, like automated, like a radio control, right? And they got a 2-pointer that kind of goes down the sidelines, 3-pointers, and then like a 30-yard pass in the end zone. There's this target, a 4-pointer. It's a circle. It looks like the old cartoons where Dumbo's jumping out of the fire and like the firemen are trying to catch him. It's a circle, right? Like a big plate. And there's a 5-point hanging in the end zone going back and forth. There's so anyway, it's nuts. Renfro goes out there and just continues to hammer passes towards the 4-point thing in the end zone and keep missing by a little or hitting the edge, right? And not getting 4 points. And he winds up throwing just the one little flat route and gets 1 point. Justin Jefferson has the same strategy, and he throws to the other side. And he's going for the 4-pointer. And he just keeps missing. And then he goes for the one in the flat, trying to get some points. And he keeps missing. But like close, but still missing, right? And he doesn't get a single point. Hunter Renfro beats him 1-0. And I'm like, all right, well, this is interesting. And, I guess these guys, maybe they kind of shouldn't have done this. Maybe it was windy. I don't know what the story is, right? But I guess they're
just letting it rip, dude. They just want to chuck.
Yeah, just letting it rip. So I think I'm like 99% sure it was Mac Jones. Mac Jones was definitely out there throwing against Kirk Cousins for another one. But I think it was Mac Jones was the QB.
Kirk Cousins was at the Pro Bowl. Yuck.
Yeah. Kirk Cousins was also laughing at Justin Jefferson, saying, "What the hell are you doing?" Like, now you know my life. It was pretty difficult, all these throws.
I wish they fought right there on the spot because I know Justin Jefferson hates Kirk Cousins.
Well, Jones and Cousins went against each other in a cool thing where defenders stand in front of a target and they throw balls in different size holes. And if the defender catches it in interception, it's like minus 3 points and the whole deal. But Trayvon Diggs picked off Mac Jones and like ran the shoulder into the wall. Like he's the only person going to get injured in the Pro Bowl. It was pretty terrible. But it's an interesting format. I bring it up. Here's the reason. I'm 99% sure it was Mac Jones. Hold on. Buddy, who was Hunter Renfro's teammate in the Pro Bowl thing? Was it Mac Jones? It was Mac Jones, right? It was Mac Jones, right? I watched it with Ian. We were loving it. So Mac Jones goes out there and he throws and he misses the 4-pointer, but he hits a couple of the flat ones, like the quarterbacks would do. He doesn't have a cannon.
30 yards,
so Russell Wilson's up and he needs to get, like 5 points basically to win, right? And he goes to the 4-pointer on the left, first pass, breaks right through the target. Goes to the 4-pointer on the right, breaks right through the target. 5-point circle. It's like the size of my head, flying across the middle of the end zone, and he hits it on a P. Hits the 3-point, the 2-point. He like literally does not miss a throw, and you're like, holy shit! Like this guy is accurate. Like this guy is good. So I guess it was one of those things where I sat there and I said to myself, maybe I'm going to take a flyer on this guy because look, it's Mac Jones was the other quarterback and the other guys were Hunter Renfro and Justin Jefferson. So take that for what it's worth. But he went out there and like the pros were like, look what, take it so you can find it on YouTube if you can. It was just the other people were just so bad. I guess maybe it made him look that, but he was a bing, 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 and then I was like, wow,
a man amongst boys. It looked like that. Like
yeah. He just looked the part of an NFL QB while Mac Jones did not, and Justin Jefferson under Renfro definitely.
Well, Cage, he got drafted for baseball for a reason.
Yes, but he could have a strong arm, but not an accurate arm. He clearly has both. It was an impressive thing, and it had me thinking, I don't know where he's going to go, right? And maybe somebody to put some money in now, and if he goes to a team that has a fan base and people get excited about it, maybe he's the guy who ends up in Tennessee. Who knows? Who knows?
A lot to be determined. Rodgers is going somewhere. He goes somewhere.
Yep. Yeah. Well, so we'll see. But anyway, that's my last little NFL tidbit for you guys.
And you could ask me the questions. So
okay, shoot.
I'm thinking a lot about how to invest in this year's NBA class, and just in general, man. Like there is hobby etiquette. Like how baseball has its own unwritten rules. Hobby does have its rules in the sense that people don't love flippers, right? But if we put that aside for 3 seconds, because I hear you, but this next segment isn't necessarily about ethically or what you think or believe is the right move. This is a money-making play, and if you want to do it, you're not doing anything illegal and you're not hurting anybody. So this is how I would do it. NBA hoops cards are out. PSA is closed, but SGC is open. And SGC is killing turnaround times.
Yep.
So what I would do, not for a very long time, for the next 2 months, is if I'm at shows, I'm looking in the dollar box, I'm looking at this year's class, I'm looking at a Kuminga, a Evan Mobley, a Jalen Suggs, a Scotty Barnes. I'm getting these cards for 50 cents on the dollar. I'm subbing them to SGC at the lowest rate. KK Sports Cards, for example, guys, if you go to his website, you can sub right there. It's $24 a card. So you're into this $25, right? I think there's an opportunity for arbitrage there. I think there's something there. I'm not saying you're going to hit all 10s. I'm not saying that if you hit a 10, it's going to be $100 cards. But I do think there's a flip and arbitrage opportunity where on these hoops cards, if you get them for $1, you grade them for 24. And dude, maybe you guys throw them into that free sub that we're doing. You're able to get a $50 card, a $40 card, a $60 card. And if you choose wisely, remember the prism case isn't coming out anytime soon. The hobby is trending up. And as much as there's hate for hoops, they do still sell. They sell for 40, 50, 60, $70 graded, depending on the rookie. I think there's something here where you could be in it for $25, get it back in 20 days, flip it for 60, make $20 and kind of start building that bankroll. Now, I'm not saying that's for everybody. It's a lot of hard work. It is. We give you guys different plays. We give you different plays where buy this, sit on it for 10 years, like the Cassius Clay auto. We give you plays where it's like Josh Allen, buy in the offseason, sell in the lead-up. This is a little bit more intensive in labor. You have to find these cards. You have to be at a show. Some of these people throw in for free. I think you could get some money if you buy.
I love the play. Can I extend on it a little bit
Sure.
and say you might be able to find at those shows some Prism guys from last year that are also casualties of this, like your James Wiseman or a Tyrese Maxey, or maybe Halliburton's probably a little too high, but guys who you might like who are doing well from last year's Prism or Select or that kind of stuff, and they just weren't subbed because there was no SGC is definitely an option on that. If you find those, throw them in with your this year's class, your hoop stuff. I love it. I think it's a great play. And here the best part is you get him back this season. Get him back while he's still a rookie. You know what I mean? So interesting stuff. All right. So number one, does James Harden get traded? And if so, is it to Philly for Ben Simmons? And if that happens, what do you think?
NBA trade deadline's weird because it's always like more hype than reality. So it's like, I don't even know, who does that make better? I'm not I don't rate Harden high. I don't think I've ever spoken in Harden in elite status. Like I think he's an average player at best who puts up a lot of stats. He isn't a good defender. He's not a very good shooter. He's a volume shooter. He's not a very good shooter. He gets a lot of assists, but he also holds the ball for basically the entire possession. And his rebounds are because today's offense is box out, so your point guard can grab a rebound and take it up the floor. He's not a threat. He does get his fouls, but the refs are kind of over him. I'm super, super low on Harden. And Ben Simmons to the Nets, so now they have more head cases and more ego. I don't know.
Does it make their team better? They have a ball handler. If Kyrie's playing, you would think he's going to distribute the ball, and Harden is clearly a better 3-point shooter than Simmons because at least he takes them.
There's only been one team in my experience that gobbled up a lot of vets and won. And it was a team that was incredibly well run with one of the most selfless leaders ever. And do you know who it is?
No.
It was the Mavs. Remember that Jason Kidd, Jason Terry.
Okay. All right.
On Mary in the Matrix, but they had Dirk, who was the alpha. Yeah. But he think about this team: LaMarcus Aldridge, Blake Griffin, Patty Mills, Kevin Durant, Kyrie. You add Ben Simmons. This is just a clusterfuck of people. putting on the court together and saying they're a team, but there's no cohesion. There's
Okay.
no understanding each other's roles. These guys are all alphas in one sense or another.
All right, so play GM for me. If you're trying to move Harden, where are you trying to send him? What kind of piece you trying to bring back for the Nets to get Durant and Kyrie when he plays to the championship?
You want? How do the Nets win the
Yeah,
championship?
yeah. I mean, give me a trade partner for them.
Dame.
Wow. Okay. Interesting. You think you get? Well, I mean, listen. Portland's a fire sale. Go ahead and run 3 minutes into what you think about Portland.
Dude, that trade was horrendous. I didn't understand. You give up everything for Eric Bledsoe. That was the trade. I think they traded Gary Trent Jr. to the Raptors for Norman Powell and 2 first-round draft picks, and then they just traded those away to get Bledsoe. Dude, I think they hate Chauncey Billups. I think they really dislike Chauncey Billups, that team. That's been my thesis all year. But I don't think the Nets are as close as people think. I think you could trade Harden for whoever you want. They're not going to win. They have no cohesion. They haven't been on the court together, Cage. They've played like 8 games, 15 games together in the 2 years they've been on the team. That team is not close to winning. Now, Sixers, if they get Harden, are they closer to winning the championship? They actually are. They're definitely closer. It's hard to say that they're not because you get a good player for someone who hasn't been on the court and someone who could get you buckets too in the crunch time and someone that gives Embiid a little bit of spacing. So definitely is an interesting but hugely risky play for the Sixers because the Sixers are a team that lacks identity. They don't really have a true leader yet. Embiid's kind of becoming that guy. Harden is kind of a cancer, man. He's nowhere has he gone have people been like, wow, this guy's the ultimate teammate. He brings a lot of class. He brings a lot of hard work. No one talks about him like that because that's not him.
Was the Portland thing were the contracts they gave away better? I mean, I know I looked at it with you. I know the Bledsoe contract, it's 3.9 next year. Guaranteed, but if they cut him before, I think it was you said June 29th, they don't have to.
Remember our young friend Conrad? He was good at that kind of stuff. I don't know the contracts or any of that stuff. But what I do know is you see Steph Curry, right, and how he cheers for the rest of his team, or Kuminga does well, or Clay's back. They're dancing. That kind of stuff is subtle. Right? Like not a lot of people notice that, but that does go a long way for the young guys feeling like they're part of the team, feeling that it's bigger than, hey, I show up and I play and I go home. I think the best teams win because of cohesion. They win because of culture. Like this Grizzlies team, Cage, they have so much fun playing together. Today, Bane has shot like the ball 3 times. It's already in the third quarter. Because he's seeing Ja's having a great game and he's happy for him. So Ja has like 30 points into the third. I think that kind of stuff is important. You got to build from the ground up, not just bring in pieces and hope and pray that you're going to win.
I'm with you. Listen, does it change your mind if I tell you? And I mean, Harden, I'm curious to see where he goes because he's still a name, right? I mean, he's still a player, he's still a name, and maybe he just stays here. But does he stay here now with all that news out there? Does that cause more drama for a head case? Does it change your mind about the Portland trade if I tell you that Powell was just signed by them this year to a 5-year, $90 million contract? That they were able to lose basically that entire contract. They paid him, most of his salary this year. It was a $15 million contract this year. They paid him, half of it because only half the season.
It sounds like a lot because it's probably more than MJ made when he played.
It's 18 a year.
Today's standards, because the NBA kills it. Like the NBA makes a lot of money. So it seems like a lot of money.
Maybe they were just resetting,
I like Norman Powell. I like Gary Trent. Like I like these kind of guys that you could bring off the bench. And I think he would do I think Norman Powell would do well on the Sixers. A guy you bring off the bench that could get you 18 to 20. That if your first unit isn't playing well, you got a scorer. I like that. Like a Jordan Poole role. A Gary Trent, now he's a starter, but teams need that sometimes more than they need another, ball dominant, big ego star like Harden.
Okay, so can you give the man some credit for being the smartest man in sports? Does what LeBron said about wanting to play with his son, does that make Bronny, who probably wouldn't have been a high draft, but does that make some team actually go out and draft him higher or trade draft picks and whatnot to get him so that LeBron comes and plays on that team? And can you picture LeBron in like an Oklahoma City jersey, like at the end of his career? Talk to me about that, because he basically said he wants to stay and play with whatever team drafts Bronny. Obviously, he's wanting the Lakers to draft him, but that's tough. But what do you think?
Well, the Lakers, wherever Bron goes, that team will draft him because no one really wants Bronny. He's not that good of a player.
Well, that's what I'm saying. What I'm saying is, do you see a team now? So let's say the Lakers, when Bronny comes out, he's like a let's say the Lakers are a bottom 10 pick, of the first round, right? And by the time it gets to 20, and Bronny's not a first rounder, but let's say it gets to 2021, whatever, and there's not a lot of players out there, and the league is basically, there's a team, I don't know who it's going to be, Oklahoma City, I throw that one out there, right, who has a whole bunch of draft capital, right? Maybe they trade up to 21, 22, 23 with one of their 500 draft picks. They package it up and they say, all right, LeBron, put your money where your mouth is.
Yeah.
You're taking your son with a first-round pick. Come to Oklahoma City.
Or they hold him hostage and they say, send us like 5 picks in return because we have the guy you want, right?
Exactly. Well, that's the thing, right? They can now send it to – is it the craziest thing in the world, right? I mean, is LeBron going to sign with the Lakers if his son is on Oklahoma City? Or does Oklahoma City – are they able to say to the Lakers, we'll send him, we'll trade him to you, but we're going to hold you up a little bit?
So I'm gonna go a slightly different direction. I'm gonna say something that's probably obvious, that's at the same time controversial. LeBron's main goal, and we know this now in retrospect, but LeBron's main goal going to LA wasn't, I'm gonna win 5 more championships and be number one. It was, I have other priorities. I want to live where I want to live. I want to be in good weather. I want to make movies. I want to have say in how operations and things are run. And what this comment says to me is he's more concerned about that than necessarily winning a championship, which is okay because he's done a lot already. He's just like he likes the spotlight. We know this at this point. He likes the spotlight. He likes to be talked about. He likes to do these cool things like Griffey Jr. and Griffey Sr. playing. To me, it's a non-story, man. I could care less. I got to be honest. I don't think
it's just –
from what I've heard.
I agree with that, but that's what I'm saying. If he just, it's a topic here. I know the LeBron hatred will seep through, and everything he's saying is fine. I understand he moved out there and he's basically the GM, but there is a world, a universe where if Bronny comes out in 2 years and the Lakers are good, and the Lakers are picking, 28 or 26 or whatever it is, and the team in front of them, maybe they don't care. Maybe they say, all right, well, there's no one really great on the board. We're going to take Bronny. Screw you, Lakers. Hey, LeBron, come play for us. You're only signing 1-year deals. You're not on the contract with the Lakers anymore. Come play in Portland or come play in Miami. I don't.
It's drastically different to play quarterback than it is to play like a physical position like he does with LeBron at small forward, whatever. I don't we're assuming that LeBron at 40 is just going to be like this dominant figure. Like he is on the tail end of his career.
I'm not saying that. I'm saying he's a draw, right? So yes, I'm sure that as the years go on, he's going to, digress. I'm sure his talent level is going to tail off. Even the biggest Jordan nut hugger like myself knows that he was a shadow of himself when he played in Washington, but he was still a draw in Washington, right? So I guess what I'm saying is I'm not saying whatever team he goes to is going to win a championship. I'm not saying Bronny's going to be great. I'm not saying he's going to be great at 40 years old. It's just a talking point that I found fun because he came out and said, I'm going to go where Bronny goes. Now, if I'm the team owner, right, and my team sucked last year, and I got draft capital, I'm going to say, all right, we're drafting Bronny. Come on. Get your Bron jerseys at Fanatics. Go get your Bron.
You prioritize the bottom line over winning games.
Well, if the team is not going to win games anyway, you figure, one, they're going to win more with LeBron coming and playing. I'm talking about a team that is not winning. There are a lot of those in the NBA. No? I got you thinking. The hamster wheels are turning.
We'll do it. There's some really good high school basketball players, like AD,
Oh yeah.
but 1 year and then he was out. Bronny's
Listen,
not.
go look at Overtime Elite, man. Go look at
Yeah,
OT, right? I mean, I get it. There's a lot of good players, but
I'm
he's gonna
curious.
play.
I don't know if he's good enough to be in the NBA. What I'm seeing is
I don't think
he's
LeBron cares. He's gonna get in the NBA. That's why I say,
right.
do you think he's smart by doing this? Do you think he basically is now guaranteeing that his son gets in the NBA, gets a shot?
That yes, 1,000% yes. That I agree. He's definitely building up his stock. Because dude, I've watched anyway. That's all I'll say. I have one more card that I want to talk about, guys. It's I'll say
Give the man a little bit of his greatness. I think Bronny was born after LeBron had played a season already, and here he is still playing at a really high level. I mean, the team is ninth in the West, and they were 25-25 when he went out, and they're 25-28 now. He's still playing at a very high level individually, and we're having a conversation about his son playing with him. That's a pretty amazing thing for an athlete. So I'm just giving the man his due. I'm not a LeBron go
you're allowed to
talking, but we got to give him his due.
My
but God, let's
go there. Like LeBron playing with Bronny. I agree. Now that you said that, it is cool. Like the human side of it. Like we all wish that we could play with our kids, or you could play with your dad, and then playing at the highest level with your dad. That's just like crazy. Yeah. So 1,000% now that you said it, my brain goes to.
You hate LeBron. I know. I get it. Your brain goes to. You'd rather have Ben Simmons on your team.
Which is a shame because it's like what people would probably say about Picasso. Like, ew, that's art. And you miss the opportunity to see and embrace and be like, okay, that's not the art I like, but I can still respect greatness.
Listen, title of this episode is Andrew calls LeBron a Picasso. I mean, that's the. I heard it. I heard it.
I see no lies in that.
All right. So what's your last play? What's your last little bit of fun?
Fine, I'll bring it up. I just love finding interesting cards when I'm doing research. So I want to bring this up. You tell me, do you know anything about this card? It's it's called the Chainmail Armor card.
Ooh, sounds cool. Sounds
cool, right?
Sounds like it could be a little risque. Whose card is it?
Well, it's actually like a design. I don't know any much about it, but do you see the card on here? It's the Chainmail Armor 2017 Panini. Here's a rookie card of Mahomes. There's only 18 PSA 10s. But what's cool, I think, is when you see a card like that, I wouldn't buy the Mahomes one. I think it's super overpriced, but like it's a cool insert, I'm guessing, Cage. And you get some guys like I don't know. Do you know anything about this card? It might be
No. I know I've seen them before. I'm pretty sure it's a parallel, right, of the underlying card. So it's like they have different parallels, and this is called the Chainmail Armor Parallel. But yeah, man. I mean, it's a cool looking card. It's a cool looking card. I see it in the 2016 set too. It looks sort of like looks like my kitchen backsplash, actually. But it's got these. It's almost like a hyper kind of prism to it. Like a little cool, maybe like something between a hyper and a shock. But yeah, man. Look at that. Look at the Mahomes is pretty cool looking.
I like it, man, and that's all. It's not a play. It's nothing like that. I thought it was cool. That's all. I just wanted to bring this to people's attention.
Yeah, never even looked at it. Panini. It's pretty cool. Pretty cool. You bidding on anything tonight? Any auctions? No?
I don't
tonight, tomorrow.
The main auction places like Golden, but Sasha T had a good point. Like he said, usually people back in the day used to find deals at shows. Now, dealers aren't buying things because they're into cards for too much. The real deals are on auctions. So, talk to me. What are you looking at?
Well, listen. If you're listening to this early enough, there are a lot of what I would call those secondary auction houses that don't have the name recognition. You immediately went to Golden. SCP auctions is ending tonight. Most people haven't even heard of them.
SCP?
Right? SCP auction. So I may bid on that. I sent you the picture. The Babe Bows Out. The Type 1 photo. It's like $38,000. And you're like, oh my God, that's crazy. It's a Pulitzer Prize winning photo. It's like the Babe's last appearance at Yankee Stadium. It was all over the newspapers. This one that's actually up for auction, they're claiming that this actual print was the one used in the newspaper. It's got like the page number on the
Wow,
back of
that's
the
cool.
picture, which is pretty cool.
What? Does PSA
The
have a
last
registry
time,
for the Type 1's cage?
no, but cards like this, pictures like this that have like a title and like I think they will. I think they'll start to track this one here. And if you type this Babe Bows Out into PSA, there's a whole story about it. In 2019 in Hunt's auctions, the same picture without the additional fun of like this is the one that was used, or we think this is the one that was used for the evening edition of the paper, sold for like $150,000. Same card. There it is. The Babe sell 164.5. You found the article. So the one I sent you is on SCP. Nobody even knows about, and it's like 38 grand right now.
Dude, Babe is hilarious, man. Dude looks like a fucking old man. But
well, because he is. This picture was taken well after his playing career, and it was like a Babe Ruth day kind of at the stadium. It was in the 40s already when this was there, and he was in really bad shape at the time. He borrowed the bat from one of the Cleveland Indians, one of the opposing teams. I think maybe might have been Bob Feller, if memory serves, the opposing pitcher for the day. And he's leaning on his bat like he couldn't even stand up on his own. So yeah, he does look like an old man there. He was an old man there.
oh, this is his last public appearance at Yankee Stadium in 1948.
Yep.
And this is the beginning of Ruth's demise. In November 1946, 11 years removed from his playing days, Ruth entered French Hospital Manhattan to undergo medical tests. They revealed an inoperable malignant tumor in his neck. They released him, and this is his last appearance, and he passed away in 1948 on August 16th.
Yeah, right after this picture.
Wow.
He couldn't even stand. I think if you read the whole thing, I'm pretty sure that's the opposing pitcher, like his bat. I think it's Bob Feller. I think it might be. But yeah, see, he's like leaning there. And what was cool about this picture was you can kind of see the team on the right. All the other photographers were trying to get the front of Babe, right? So to get his face. This guy, Nat Fine, who took this picture, he was the only one who was set up behind him and captured like the team, stadium, the number, which is cool, his iconic number 3, and him kind of leaning on the bat, almost like a cane. And this was a Pulitzer Prize winning photo. I mean, a really cool thing. It's a photo, it's not a card, and it's $146,000. But why I bring this up is that's SCP auctions tonight. It ends in a couple hours, and that same photo, which was $146,000 in 2019, I don't even think it's up to 40 yet in the SCP auction today because people they don't see it, they're not looking for it. So
that's a cool one. That's cool. That's when you win in cards and flipping and all that stuff, NFTs, it's nice to take money off the table and just buy something you truly love.
Yeah, man. I mean, it's definitely a cool piece. The only negative. I mean, we don't want to have positives. Is
it is a negative.
Yeah, it's from the negative. The only negative I would say is, what if it doesn't catch on? Then you're spending all this money.
You love.
I'm with you, my friend. Well, so SCP is a little bit more memorabilia than cards and stuff, but it's definitely got some cool stuff if you want to take a look at it. And that's my hint. SC, just go SCP auctions. S as in Sam, C as in cat, P as in playoff football. And if you take a look, they have some cool stuff in there. They have this tonight. I mean, Andrew, I don't know if you want to get in with me, but they have a Wagner selling tonight. It's the one that's ripped in half. Current bid is only $396,000 plus the buyer's premium, so you can get it for under $500,000. This will be the only time. It'll be the only time something like that sells for that cheap. This will be your last chance to get any Wagner under $1 million.
I'll sell you the other half. So this is.
I'll take that. I'll take the other half.
You have a Wagner one. Rip it in half. Now you have 2 Wagner Authentics, and you have doubled your money.
Dude, pull up SCP auctions for a second. We're not paid by SCP auctions. We're not paid by any auction house. That'll probably change.
SCP auctions can't pay anyone. No one even knows what this means.
Dude, check out what lot number 1 is. This is a sick item, and it's not selling for. It's a lot of money. I'm not going to say it's a lot of money, but I would think it'd be more. Pull up lot number 1 in tonight's auction. Dude, it's a legit auction house. I've bought from them before. I have an account. This is what you do. You try to find the things where.
Why are they not social selling me?
Click lot number 1 and read that out loud. Click it.
Michael Jordan, Olympic.
Go ahead.
Michael Jordan Olympic trials, game worn and team signed Converse basketball sneakers. Letter of provenance from son of Team USA doctor.
This is a pair of Converse pre-Nike, pre-Air Jordan Converse signed by Michael Jordan, worn by him in his tryouts for the Olympic trials game. It's not a tryout; he was on the team, but in an Olympic trials game in the lead up to the Olympics in 1984, Michael Jordan Converse. Yeah,
Yeah.
and that Michael Jordan Converse.
Can
Pretty
I
crazy.
tell you a pet peeve I have?
Yeah, yes.
These auction houses, they have reserves, but they don't publish the reserve price.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. It's definitely not a good thing, and it keeps people away. That's what Leland's had some issues last week also. But there's some cool stuff in this auction, man. A lot of cool photos, a lot of cool autographs, rings. A pair of Kareem Abdul-Jabbar's goggles, game worn. Like just cool stuff, man. Tatis debut, his hat and his glasses, like the sunglasses, they're all in this, like from the first game Tatis ever played. You want to talk about, like, remember Rips came on and talked about the Trey net from his debut game. I mean, talk about you can get his cap.
He put it over his head.
Yeah, the ball cap and that kind of stuff. It's pretty cool. I'm trying to think what the hell else was in this. Memory serves. That's my my thought process on this stuff. When everybody else is looking at like the gold and stuff, you can potentially find some bargains that are going to be overlooked here. It's not the main one. You want to talk about another cool item? There is, I think it's only like $5,000 or $6,000 right now. A check.
This is absurd. This is literally absurd.
You don't like that? I love it. I think that's part of history.
Fake PSA label for this is the second card.
It's the second card ever graded. That's part of the value, by the way. And number one was also a Wagner, the Wagner, and now this number two is a second Wagner, and it's
number one was the Wagner.
Yeah.
Yeah. What do you mean, a PSA 5?
Yeah, I think it was the here. Let's see, PSA first card ever graded. Wagner.
It makes no sense why this is worth the price it is, but whatever. It's literally a half-eaten Wagner.
Well, I would call this, if I had it and held it out there, I would call this the dog ate my homework Wagner. I'd call it something cool. That's what I would do on it. That's exactly what I would do.
This is called stupid money. That's when you have so much money it doesn't even matter.
I think you're dead wrong on that. I mean, I think that card, it's got a place now where no matter what, that card will be a 7-figure card. And what you're seeing here may be the worst copy. Most of the ones that are out there, I mean, generally speaking, people think there's only 60 copies that ever made their way out there. We see some, the whole border is cut off. See some with like really heavy creasing and, authentic and stuff. This one's got an interesting add-on. I mean, it sucks that half the card's missing. Someone might restore it, possibly. You could see somebody restoring it, but they do. There are restored versions of
the PSA 5. Cut it in.
No, you go to like an art restoration thing. I mean, people don't love that with cards, but you can restore, and people will restore. The professional restoration cards are definitely 100%. If you wanted to do that, you can, or you keep it the way that it is. But yeah, I mean, listen, there are plenty. A restored Wagner sold for $420,000 back in, I think, 2018. Somebody restored one and sold it. So there's potentially somebody could restore it.
Someone's selling a Rolex watch cage. Do you see this? Arnold Palmer owned 18-karat Rolex engraved.
Keep going. You know what you're gonna see? You're gonna see an autograph of Michael Jordan, $5,000 casino marker to Trump from Trump Casino. I mean, like just there's some interesting stuff in there to take a look at this SCP auctions. I mean, look, I love looking at stuff like that. There's you can find some pretty inexpensive memorabilia items. If everybody's on memorabilia stuff, there's definitely some cool pieces of memorabilia in this. I see some Mahomes autos. Probably not a lot of Mahomes people looking for autos here. But listen, this
a lot of vintage cards.
Yeah, I mean, if you're a ticket stub guy, it's $4,600. But there's a cool 1919 Black Sox Game 2 ticket. It's PSA 2, but that's a cool ticket. Probably not a lot of those out there. The Black Sox scandal ticket. But yeah,
what was
man,
the White Sox scandal?
they threw the World Series.
They threw the World Series?
Dude, go just hang up, finish the episode, and watch 8 Men Out. Okay, it's a cool movie.
Is
John
that on
Cusack's
Netflix?
in it. I'm sure you can find it. I'm sure you can stream it somewhere. I don't know that it's on Netflix per se, but it's
That's
probably
lame. Why did they throw the World Series?
because they weren't getting paid. Watch the
Oh,
movie. Watch the movie.
I remember we talked.
Watch the movie. Watch the movie. It's a really good movie, dude. There's a cool Kobe RPA. I mean, I don't call it RPA. There's a cool Kobe patch auto from SP Authentic 0304 for $4,200 in this SCP auction. Take a look at it. BGS 95 with a really cool patch. It looks like the bottom of the L.
SP Auto.
Yeah, Kobe 2003-04 SP Authentic patches.
Oh, cool.
See
You have
that?
to be registered, right? Oh, this is when he had the Eddie Jones crustache.
Okay, if you say so. But it's a cool card. That's a cool patch.
I mean, what do you mean? If I say so, this is exactly what you'll see.
I've never heard the
Jones
crustache. Is that a sticker or is it just a place to sign on there?
I think it's a place to sign. It's a nice patch. Though. That's a Lakers out for sure. Card is ugly.
Well, I mean, listen. It's another place to potentially find some interesting cards and maybe find a bargain. Let's go. Let's go halvesies on the Honus.
Deal.
Yes. Woo! Come on, I told you, Honus Dow. Let's do it. Honus Dow. All right. Well, this was a fun one, man. You got any predictions? Any fun stuff? Any game stuff? Anything at all? Where Harden lands? Where Simmons lands? Does Simmons even play this year?
I don't think we're going to have any trades this weekend. We'll talk about it Monday. But I think the NBA trade deadline is they vetoed the last blockbuster trade, which I think was crazy. Chris Paul to that Lakers team, man. Talk about literally what could change the course of time, like something so crazy like that. But dude, I don't remember the last big blockbuster deal. Do you?
Nope. I'm a real Chris Paul.
I don't know why you always say that.
Because I think it's hilarious. What do you want me to tell you? I think it's really funny. That's why I always say that. Chris Paul, because it's on TV. You can't avoid that commercial, man. You can't. It's everywhere. All right. Well, listen, I've annoyed you enough. Luca Nation, we love you. Take a look at some football stuff. We brought some cool, fun, plays. I like Andrew's idea of finding those cards that have been overlooked, sending them to SGC, getting them slabbed up, and building up your bankroll that way.
Just for context, the silver Wiseman prism from last year, 9.5 is like $150 to give you guys context. That's a $20 card, for sure. Maybe even less. So those deals are out there. Look, dig, be smart. Use SGC for the quick turnaround. They're crushing the game right now. It's funny. You just said I annoyed Andrew enough, and I said one word, and you're yawning.
Yeah, I'm sleepy.
Right.
So, what are you buying? You buying anything in Golden tonight? You gonna buy yourself LeBron?
I'm not
RPA?
registered on Golden.
What?
I'll register right now.
How are you not registered?
I don't know, man. I'm not a big auction guy. I get anxiety pretty easily.
I got to tell you, the Golden's lot number 1 is an interesting thing. We can do a whole episode on this, and maybe we will carry it over. But it's a set, and I was a set builder. Older collectors, set builders. People are not set builders now. It's tough to display a set. It just doesn't go with what we have. My Pokemon story is one for we could talk about. But there's a set. It's the 1980-81 Topps basketball set, 176 cards. It's all PSA 10, a whole 176 card set, which is even bigger than the 132 card set you have with 86 Fleer. That 86 Fleer set is often made, but you have so many great rookies in that set, right? 5-figure rookies, from Olajuwon to Barkley. You got Drexler, and you got Ewing, you got Johnny Moore, Jeff Malone, real rare ones, the checklist. There's a lot of really expensive cards in PSA 10. In this particular set, everybody knows the Magic, Bird, Julius Erving, which in PSA 10 alone sold for, what was the recent sale on that? On one card, like $500,000, $600,000. I don't even know how much the last one was. I think Rob G bought his for $300,000, and then the very next one sold for like $500,000 or $600,000. And we were like, wow, nice buy, right? But here's where it gets fun. What the hell else is in that set? I know there are other ones where like Bird is on the card and Magic is on the card, and they're not on the card together, and those sell for some money in PSA 10. But what else is a part of the set? And clearly, Ken thought this was going to sell for more because lot number 2 is another Brady Contenders out of 100 auto, which is at over $1 million. Lot number 3 is another LeBron BGS 85 Exquisite, which is up over $1 million already. So you know what those are going to sell for. You know those are 7-figure cards. So to make this lot number 1, Ken clearly was expecting it to be a 7-figure set because the one card is, you know, $500,000-600,000 or whatever the heck it lasts over. I don't know what card that. It's only at $600,000 now. It's one of those like things we can definitely talk about. You know, you just click the auction, you'll see the first 3. The first one that comes up: lot 1, lot 2, lot 3, and lot number 1 is this set, and it's. I would bet if you pump Ken with a little bit of the old sodium pentothal, you know, like I used in my CIA days, he would tell you the truth, and he would say, you know, I expected more for this set. I expected more. So we could do a little show on that. We'll see where it ends.
This set right here.
There you go. Yeah, see, look, 1, 2, 3. 2 and 3 are 7 figures. They're up over $1 million already. 1, 600,000.
All right.
6 set.
The card that I'm watching, given our rally conversation from this week, because I'm like an elephant, guys. I can't forget. It's terrible. I'm watching where this card, the LeBron Exquisite Patches Autographs, 52 out of 100. It's at 66,000, 80,000 with a buyer's premium. There was a buyout on that card this week from Rally, which was voted on shareholders. I can't let it go. I apologize, Cage.
It's all right. You do your thing. My phone's about to die. 56, right?
If
56,
you're
right?
if you're the real Slim Shady, please stand up. Please stand up. You're the buyer of that LeBron Exquisite on Rally. Would you please stand up? I'm curious because you got a really nice deal there, young fella.
Well, 56, and this one's going to go for 66 plus a buyer's premium. It's definitely lower. You know, one of our listeners brought it to our attention that he was trying to make an offer over the weekend. Made an offer. We reached out to Rally. We talked about this on our episode. Rally took my call immediately. You know, they reached out to our listener. Yeah, no, I texted first, and he's like, "I'll call you right now." Seriously, it's Cage. You know, you can't. You know, listen, give Rally credit. They could have just ignored my text and called me and told me to F off. And they spent a lot of time, I believe, back and forth with our listener. You know, talking about whether he submitted an offer, that kind of stuff. You know, I don't know that Rally received an offer. I don't think they did. Our guy says he did, and we believe our guys. You know, they worked it out. They did their thing. And, you know, a lot of you saw the email that was, you know, that they actually added money and increased the, you know, the people who got a buyout from 56 to 62, which I don't think they had to do. I think it's good that they did it. I consider that going above and beyond. But we, you know, Andrew's like, it's $2, but it's $6,000. It's $6,000 that the buyer I don't think paid.
But dude, I can't.
Yeah.
My whole life I've bit my. Well, I've been told to bite my tongue, and when I haven't bit my tongue, it's bit me in the ass. But
well, you should bite your tongue. Only talk about facts because we don't. There's a lot of facts missing here. We don't have a lot of facts. We are a podcast that has a listener email us, and the value we provided was, you know, because we are what we are. Rally took our call and looked into it, which I'm happy to even have that much happen.
Well, on different platforms, on Collectible, we do a fractional report, and there is a retained earnings.
Keep that in mind. We are sponsored by Collectible, so keep that in mind also.
Rally doesn't have a retained earnings section. So I'm curious, like, let's say you go and you auction off your IPO your card. You're like, yo, I want to sell my card. I want to retain 51%. IPO your card, 49% comes in, buys out the other half, blah, blah, blah. Time passes. Now that card below IPO. Hey, I have a buyout offer. I want to rebuy the card back out. So here's my, you know, it's trading at 44. I'll do, let's say, random number, 56.
Hypothetically,
yes, 51% votes yes.
Hypothetically, if there was 51% retained value on the card, yeah, but that is out of thin air. It could also be zero retained value, right? It could also be zero. We don't. Okay, just making sure.
I do not know that the retain thing is true at all. I'm just saying, like, when it comes to shareholder vote, and they're all like, "Yeah, 100%, I agree to it." Well, it's kind of a conflict of interest. The guy who or the girl who retains the ownership, he or she is an investor, so he or she gets the vote. but then they're also the buyer, so they get to make the offer. So it's like, I will accept the offer that I made.
Well, I mean, I think they also have to make sure that the offer is reasonable. You have Card Ladder? What was the sale price before the one in Golden? And what was the most recent sale of the card?
Okay, what was the card we're talking about? I'm just
the 2003 exquisite auto LeBron, not the RPA, and was it BGS 8? I think out of 100.
Here's where I go with this. So I'm not. I would never ever accuse anybody, but I will always make light of the things that I think about. And if there's nothing to hide, then there's nothing to hide, right? People shouldn't be scared of the truth if there's nothing to hide. Is that fair?
I agree. I do. My only
exquisite. What was? Give me some more. LeBron.
Dude, you just had the picture up in front of you.
Yeah, but
right. It was like gold. It was out of 100. BGS 8.
BGS 8. That's why. BGS 8. There's an 8.5 is on Card Ladder, and that's valued at $99,888. Of course, you can't really compare that to an 8 because, like, how are you going to do a multiple of that?
Yes, but 56 against the 95 value. I mean, I'd be curious what the last sale of the card is. You know what I mean? In BGS 8.
We're about to find out tonight.
Well, but that's a new sale, right? I mean, who knows if it even gets paid for. So that's the difficult part about this stuff. I mean, the difficult part about these things is you get one sale, two sales. Who knows if it actually sells? I sold a card this past week through Probstein. One of my Jambalaya Marvel that I hold up all the time. I sold the Venom, and it sold for over $3,000. And there was there were bids were up to like 1,700 or 1,800, and then two bids came in at the very end. One was a guy with like 3,000 feedback, and he bid like 3,100, and then somebody with 25 feedback bid like $5 more than that and won. Probstein paid me because Probstein always pays me because if it doesn't get paid, he takes it off my next auctions. Probstein paid me, but I may get an email in the next 3 days this was unpaid, or in 30 days it says the person returned this. So right now, the world sees that comp and sees $3,500. Let me go out and buy Jambalayas. Look what's going on. Gingy Man Cards will talk about. Now, give Gingy some credit. He messaged me and said, "Hey, did this get paid for?" And I gave him the whole explanation. So, it is what it is. One comp. There's a lot. Like you always tell me, right? When I make these statements, you're like, "Oh, there's a lot more to it. They're printing money." Market cap isn't what it used to be, right? I mean, there's a lot of things to it. So I guess we'll find out, right? We'll see what this one sells for tonight. If it stays at 66 and gets 20% added on, that's 79 and change. It's definitely more than 56. It's more than 62, but it's not, a crazy amount more. If it gets more bids, we'll see what happens. And then maybe we'll ask Ken if it actually got paid for. So, we can always follow up. We can always definitely do that stuff. I take it from the different angle, which is thank you to our audience. Thank you to every single one of you listening to this, because the 2,000 or 3,000 of you that will listen to this in the next 24 hours, you have given us a platform where people know who we are. We've built up a community behind this, where people will come to us and say, "Hey, this happened." And the businesses in the community will listen to us. They will take our calls. And that is because of you guys. So, big thank you to you guys. And Andrew's here to hold people accountable, man. This is what he does.
By nature, I'm a fraudster. I'm good at finding loopholes and things. So
you're a fraud yourself? You're a fraudster? Is that what you said?
I'm a fraudster. Yeah, like when I used to work at Jumio, it'd be like this is what these guys do to get around, this type of thing. And I'm like, I know exactly what they do. I just had that maybe it's the Russianness in me. But what I've decided was I'm going to be a good guy. I'm not going to go that route. I'm not going to go the easy route. I'm going to go the route less traveled. But I could see the loophole. So now that I have a show and I have a big mouth, I can't hold it in.
Yeah. Well, I mean, listen, I think you did a good job here today because you did not cast any aspersions. We don't know the facts. We brought an issue up. And in my opinion, I think Rally went above and beyond and did what they needed to do. And, we're moving on from there. But guys, we're not a watchdog or anything, but, we're here. If you got something to tell us, tell us. We're like E.F. Hutton. People listen.